Hi, I'm Martha Zink, and welcome to the Context Podcast by Geist. This is the show where we talk about all the things going on in the Claris FileMaker community. In this crossover episode with FileMaker Chat, I talk with Todd Geist and Matt Navarre about FileMaker events both past and present. Join us as we talk about AutoEnter Live, PauseOnError, and conferences happening in Europe, where you just might find Matt Navarre. All right, the mashup continues, and here we are. It's again Matt Navarre. I got Todd Geist. And funny enough, this topic is a good one because I met both of you at PauseOnError for the first time, is my recollection. I don't think it was a DevCon. So anyway, I think we want to talk a little bit about the FileMaker community, right? Things are pretty exciting right now that the pandemic is somewhat behind us. At least in-person events are happening again. A lot of events are happening. So should we talk a little bit about that?
Conferences. Let's round them up.
Let's round them up. So we should, I don't know, we could start with the one that we just finished, which is AutoEnter. We're wearing our AutoEnter shirts.
Present.
Yes.
So we knew it was coming. I'm curious, Matt, how much you knew about it and what your experience was of it when it happened.
I did know about it. I thought about presenting for it, but didn't have the time at that moment because I was in the middle of moving things. I went to a lot of the sessions live, and I really loved the fact that the speaker was there answering questions while the session was going on. That was brilliant. Who was ever idea what that was. But the time zone was a problem for me. So I watched a lot of them. I watched a lot of them after the fact to watch the videos online.
Yeah, the time zone, these virtual events they have pluses and minuses clearly. And I think it's hard to imagine a future where they don't exist. But I, for one, hope that they're not the only thing. I mean, I really like getting together with people. And, you know, for me and Martha, it was actually, we kind of had the best of both worlds because we did meet in person. And the four of us that kind of hosted it, we were in one.
Oh yeah, I love that.
One space in a town.
One room with your four super professional mics and booms, and
you guys
looked awesome.
We went to a podcast studio and kind of hosted it from there. So we did get a little bit of experience. Like I got a chance to talk to Bob and Wim, who I would normally really only talk about whatever, you know, like not even FileMaker things, but just whatever. We went, Bob and Martha and I went out to dinner and listened to this band one night at a barbecue place, and it was great, you know, that kind of stuff, which only happens when you're in person. So I'm looking forward to doing some in-person stuff.
Right. So AutoEnter recently, the last really big, super successful online event. And then Pause, which I guess you said registration just closed for, that's coming up in mid-October.
That'll be the end of October. Yeah. So October 24th through 27th. And we're meeting in person in Georgia again. We did it last year in person too. And it sounds like we'll have just over 100 people there. So I'm very excited about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
There's a conference coming up in Quebec, Montreal, I think. Also, I think around that time, maybe end of October. That Direct Impact is very involved with.
Yeah.
There's one that I'm going to be going to and speaking at in Italy the first week of October.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
I wanted.
Is this why you moved to? Is this why you're over there now? Just because you wanted to go to all those fun conferences?
I didn't even know about this one, and when I moved over here, people said, "Hey, by the way, you're going to go to this conference." I'm like, "What?" And I contacted the people and asked them if I could come and speak, and they said yes, please. So, and because it's in Rome, they're actually having like tours the couple days before the conference. So the people who are, you know, the Italians who live there and love their city are going to just take a bunch of FileMaker nerds on tour of Rome and go see the. So that's
I wanted
awesome.
to go to that.
Then of course
I wanted to go to that, and it's also my wife's birthday, so we were thinking, oh, this would be great to go over there and spend some time in Rome.
Birthday present.
Yeah, but I just wasn't, you know, with Pause, which I'd already committed to later in that month, and I do a few other in-person events for other topics, other untech related things, and you know, I'm still just, you know, who knows what will happen to travel at any given moment. At least that was my take at the time. Feels like it's maybe stabilizing, but I just was like, I just don't think it's going to work this year. So there's Italy, and there's like Malmo, Sweden, right? Do we that one's happening? Or?
Yeah, I think that's in November.
Yeah,
I think so.
November.
Yeah,
and we'll put all the have all.
No, I don't think I'm going to go to that one because there's too much. And then there's the one in Berlin.
Yep.
And I think that's the biggest of the three. And then what are the other ones in the US? So we don't really know what's going to happen with the Claris official.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
They've, of course, they ended up originally. So we pitched the idea of AutoEnter to them and being a participant in it and helping us, with content and things like that. And so they help support us with that. And I think they have expressed interest in doing that more often. So in more places, I think they're sending people to the conferences overseas, et cetera, and things like that, and into Canada and stuff. I think they're trying to figure that out, like what support means in these things. They haven't never done this before. So, I don't think they have a clear plan of what that means, but I think they are going to want to support more events, more regional events. And I think that makes sense.
Yeah,
I just hope there are some people gather. I think that's important. And I hope, if I'm being honest, I hope that there is an Engage in the US somewhere where it's one event because, it's been the most important thing in my professional career for over 25 years or so. So I'd like to see that continue.
Me too.
Yeah.
But, there's the FileMaker friends we have, when you see those people every year for 25 years, they're not just acquaintances. You've known them before they were married and before they had kids and other kids are in college.
Yeah.
Or graduated.
Yeah, like Martha says we met at Pause. Maybe we did. I thought it was at DevCon, but Martha, I used to, after my talk, I would go and hang out in the lobby bar. And so Martha would come and, she would heckle me about football or something like that. I'd heckle her because I'm a Patriots fan and she's a Houston, Texans fan. And so, being a Patriots fan, I was a Patriots fan when they sucked. So
that's fair. All right, that's fair.
I deserve 2 decades of dominance.
You're not a fan if you're not behind your team when they're not doing well. So,
and I was a fan from the late 70s when they were terrible. So anyway, but one of the things I remember is sort of off. Well, it's kind of on topic because these are the things that happen. At some point, I don't remember which one it was. Martha showed me a video of Kevin Hart and his ostrich bit, which if you haven't seen on YouTube, you need to go see because it's still, I watched it a couple weeks ago. I pulled it up, sitting in the living room, I pulled it up and I put it on the big screen in my living room. And my wife and I watched it and laughed so hard that my stomach hurt. I think it's still my favorite bit of any comedy bit I've ever seen in my entire life. And I have Claris Engage, or was DevCon at the time, and Martha to thank for that. So
it's funny the things that the memories that come from all these events. Matt, I remember we went on a photo walk. It was me, you, Ernest was there. A bunch of people were there.
Oh yeah.
And we did a big photo walk.
This amazing photo. I have an amazing photo of you taking a photo, actually.
I think those are in my hat days.
Rooftop, and the screen of your camera was reflecting light on your face. So it was it was a great, you probably remember it, but it was a really good one.
I was looking back through, those photos are all still on Flickr. And I remember going on there just probably less than a year ago. And just a flood of emotions of remembering meeting all these people and doing all these completely unrelated things to FileMaker, right? Or development or whatever it was. It's such a blast. I mean, I can't imagine not having that. Yeah. The dinners, the going out to all the kinds of events. So the comedians.
Huge fights over football teams,
Yeah. Just the normal things.
Lazy rivers, of course. Yeah. All of it.
Is your goal to have three pauses a year, 2 pauses a year? Where are you going to go with it?
I don't know. I think 1 a year is the plan for now. I don't think we're past thinking about other things, but that seems to be a good cadence. And there is something about building up the tolerance to go do it again, right? Because it can be a little intense to go, hang out with people for 3 or 4 days. We're doing it at the same venue that we did it last year. And it was such a success, even with a power outage and even with ridiculous amounts of rain. Yeah. So
I can't wait for rain.
Yeah.
Bring the rain.
So good. Anyway, so I don't know if our plan is changing anytime soon, but we really liked the format of Pause. It had a very different vibe than I think it's had in past years. Not good or bad compared to it, just different. And so it'll be fun to introduce a few more people to it this year and see where it goes from there, get some feedback.
A few people have talked to me about licensing or doing one that's more regional, but using the Pause brand and the Pause marketing and the Pause, because if you go if you go to it, you see the list of all the ones that have happened in the past. There's been many, many, many
I know.
Yeah.
There's been
since
so
John
many.
Sindelar. John and Ernest started it, right? I think the very first
Yeah.
one. There was a
Yeah.
couple in Portland. I run one with Gerald Chang.
That's right.
By the way, if anyone knows what's going on with Gerald Chang, please contact me, because his clients are looking for him and other people are trying to find him, and I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Yeah, the long history of Pause has been pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a little surreal to take to co-CEO that with Chrissy. It was a little unexpected at the time, and
Yeah,
I wouldn't have ever predicted it, back in those days in Portland or New York, that I'd be steering the ship. But it's a fun ship
yeah.
for sure.
I saw it coming, I think. Are there any other conferences, or is that kind of it for the US? It seems like there needs to be more.
I think
I don't know.
I don't think there's anything more planned in the US.
There's lots
at
of
this
user
point. I
groups.
could be
User
wrong.
groups meet
Yeah.
every month. Usually, we got lots of those.
Yeah,
But I don't know if
I don't know how many
like,
of those are doing it in person though.
Yeah.
I think
I
user
don't
groups
know if
are
any of them are.
hard. They're really difficult. Nothing to do with the pandemic, but we tried to do one in San Diego for a while. The combination of, like, when do you do it? Like the end of the day, the middle of the day.
Yeah.
People get excited to go, but then, they're stuck at work, and then there's traffic, and it's tough.
Yeah.
It is tough to do. The one that seems to keep going strong here is FM Disc. I don't actually know if they're back online. I don't think they're back in person yet.
Person?
But
Yeah, I don't know.
they had, regularly 20 to 40 people every month, and they did it in the
Yep.
middle of the day, which is maybe part of the thing.
Mm.
So that people
That's
aren't,
right. Yeah.
they're not
And with
trying to
kind of
squeeze it
lunch.
in between work and their home life,
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. It's challenging. I think also
The one we
because
had in
now
Portland was successful.
Yeah.
people have virtual as a model that
Yeah.
it's almost like it's not a poor substitute. Like, I don't want to say it's not valuable, because there are people who it's the only way they can attend these things, and that's great. But
Yeah.
it's almost like, because it's so easy to do now, it makes the effort of like showing up in person a little bit more challenging to do for these short events that are like, just an hour, just a couple of hours. That's, it gets harder for people.
Yeah. I don't know. I think what I see is that there should be one mega meetup, or a handful of mega meetups that are sort of topic focused. And then like a whole bunch of meetup groups just sort of consolidate. And then several people sort of take on the speaker part of it. And that way you get really regular meetings, maybe even regional ones with the same topic. So you can sort of solve the time problem. Like when you get a really good speaker, they speak at, 8 a.m. Pacific and also 6 p.m. the same day. Because the 8 a.m. Pacific gets to the time that's actually a reasonable time in Europe.
Yeah.
4 p.m. I think for my time, because there's actually 3 time zones in Europe.
Yeah.
So this is an issue. Like, I'm teaching classes, and I have students in West Coast, East Coast. There's one in South Africa. There's one in Athens.
Wow.
I mean, you have to find one class time that works for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a challenge.
And I'm 10 hours ahead of Pacific Coast time. So there's not a single work hour that's actually in common.
Yeah.
So my work day, I shifted my work day. I work till like 9 or 10 p.m. a lot of days, just so I can talk to my West Coast
people. And that's
people.
part of the thing. When you bring everybody together, we're all in the same time zone.
Yeah.
And that really does impact stuff like this. So I kind of believe we're going to get back to it. I think there's enough reason to do it. And I think even, I mean, Proof has always been virtual, and so is Geist Interactive. And so we don't have an office, and we haven't for Geist Interactive had one for a while, but not really. And if you're 100% virtual company, which a lot of companies in our space are now, if they weren't before, having places to go and get together in the same room is also important just for that.
Yeah.
So, things like Pause and other events are opportunities for people who don't normally get to be in the same room together to be in the same room. And it's important. Like this kind of stuff it matters. It matters in pretty much every community or work thing that I'm involved in. The Zoom thing is okay. And it does allow more people to attend. So there's a plus side, but it's not the same as being in person. And I hope we can bring those back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think about I guess virtual can work too, but again, it's not the same, right? So when I think of all the in-house folks that do, FileMaker development, they don't get to
Yeah.
talk the same language as
Yeah.
people all the time, right? They're the one-off person,
Yeah.
or maybe they're in a group of two or whatever. But to be able to, that was the highlight of one of my first DEF cons, is like I was surrounded by people that cared about the exact same things I cared about. That was so foreign to me, right? It was so exciting. So, but it's a different vibe when you're not in the same room together, right? And then there's, there's some nerve and, nervousness that comes with having to talk to new people. And when you're stuck in a room, you're going to do it. So
Yep,
I like all those forcing functions of being together.
I think
yeah, I agree.
I think it's going to take some time to figure this out. Maybe there's hybrid models that will work. I think if we do AutoEnter next year, we will probably try to do some kind of hybrid. And so I don't know what that means exactly. Maybe it means that there's one main place where people go. And then but everything's broadcast and you can participate online. Or it may mean that there are regional places. There's an East Coast, there's a West Coast, there's an Asia Pac, there's a Europe, and we can just kind of pass the baton around the planet, which would be pretty fun. Like, wouldn't that be that's actually kind of an interesting idea.
The 24-hour
the 24 hours of the 24 hours of AutoEnter or whatever, where it kicks off.
London,
it kicks off in London. With
London,
GMT.
New York, and Hong Kong. Those are three that are separated by 8 hours each, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Todd, I'm guessing we're going to London, right?
London and LA, maybe. London and New York's only 4 hours.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah.
All right.
Well, like that would
take on London.
That would be kind of fun to pull off, right? And you could do it when you recorded the sessions, like if you pre-record the sessions, then you could play the key ones, like the keynote ones, the big ones, over a few time slots for people, and then language ones could be done in their own language. So I don't know. That might be something. It'd be very hard to coordinate. That's the concern is like, how do you pull that off?
The conference in Italy has live translators. So if the speaker speaks English, there'll be someone translating it to Italian, and you can have headphones on and listen to the real-time translation. And then if it's Italian, it goes to English. So they'll have people actually doing that live.
Yeah. So we have to do something like that. That would be very cool to do.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of coordination there. I don't know whether we'll be able to pull that off. But so anyway, I think from our perspective with AutoEnter is, I think we'll try to do some kind of hybrid, or maybe we'll just encourage people to gather, in some way. Yeah. Rent a block of hotel rooms and hang out. I think that's what actually Team DF did down in New Zealand for AutoEnter, because it was like it's like 2 a.m. or something for them.
Oh yeah,
so they put everybody in a hotel and they all got together and they did it as an event, as a company thing. So maybe we'll encourage that. I don't know.
Well, that was the thing.
I love that idea.
Yeah, to the point you made earlier, Todd, we got the best of both worlds because we did get to hang out. And I was thinking about, I heard so many conversations that the three of you were having, right? You and Bob and Wim. That was really cool, right? And so that's what you miss from not being in person, is that everyone else didn't get to hear that. And it would be awesome to do something regional or encourage people to get together so that they get those, right? It doesn't have to be exactly the same experience for everybody. Just like DevCon was made up of small groups and all kinds of, individual little gatherings. So party. I think that's what I want. The chocolate party. That's right.
Yeah. Martha, you're getting almost as fast in your speech as Chris Hippolyte.
I am doing my best.
It's a compliment. It's a great thing.
Oh, if I don't talk fast, then I forget what I'm saying. So when I do try to slow down, it's not good for anybody.
Yeah. Chris and I like to joke about the over-caffeinated episode of podcast from forever ago, where he came to Portland and drank way too much coffee, and we recorded it. It's like, it's a super speed episode, but in the middle of it, you don't really know. So
yeah, it's true. It's true. I'll do my best, but yeah.
So I think we're totally on the same page, right? Online has its place. It's really, really good for me doing training, because I can get people from a lot of places, and the screen sharing is way better. Honestly, it's a way better experience to share your screen when a bunch of people are in a class, like 5 or 10 people, than in a room. Yeah. Everyone's engaged more, but the in-person connection, we're so missing that. We really need it again.
Yeah. One other thing to mention about the in-person is the vendor expos are way better in person. I mean, that's one of the key
Oh,
things.
yeah.
I mean, I think the vendor expo at AutoEnter was better than it's been in any other virtual event that we've tried to do, but it still is not a comparison to the buzz of the showroom floor, you know?
Yeah.
That's a big deal. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because the vendor event, that's where the bar is after the, opening session or whatever, like at the right time of day, right when things end.
Yeah.
You have, and on breaks and stuff like that, people, they have nowhere else to go. So they go into the vendor space, they see people, that's a huge important thing too.
It's also where, it's where you get a sense of the community. Like whenever I go to other events, one of the first things I do is I go to the vendor showcase. I want to see who's here. I want to see what they're doing. I want to see how many people are milling around. That's where the because the other part of the event is produced. It's like people plan it, it's put together, it's got people speaking in certain time slots, there's a keynote, there's all that stuff. The vendor expo is where the community shows up and hangs out and does their thing. It's where you can see the economic activity in what's happening. And those are really valuable things. So yeah, we got to do that somehow.
Yeah. We'll do it.
So.
Somehow. We're going to do it. I don't know
how.
All
right. So let's, we've recorded 2 episodes back to back. You up for 2 more? I'm not.
No,
do I have to talk what speed do I get though? Because that all depends.
Yeah.
If you slow me down, you've probably made 6 episodes. So
I'd rather have the fast talk and get more content in,
There we
that's
go.
my speed.
Content and context is king. We got to do more.
Oh yeah,
There we
totally.
go.
Oh yeah. That's
All
a
right.
perfect
Well,
outro.
I think
this
it's
was
good.
really fun. Thank you for this.
Right.
It was great chatting.
Yeah, it really was. See you guys soon.
Just as a reminder, this is available on YouTube and as a podcast, and make sure you check out the show notes as there are a lot of links to share there. If you can take a minute to pause and subscribe, we'd really appreciate it, but better yet, if you can share it with a friend, that would be pretty awesome. No matter what your role is in this community, you're proof of how amazing this Claris community really is. My job is to help spread your knowledge and your stories on the podcast. Find me on Twitter at MZ123 or at ProofGeist, and let's share your story.